Australia is a backpacker's paradise.
There's job opportunities, amazing cities, wildlife everywhere, and quite literally the nicest beach in the world.
So if moving to Australia is on your mind, then this is 7 things that you're going to need to do to get yourself set up living here.
Assuming you have your flights and your visa already sorted, it's time to get your accommodation booked.
We recommend you stay in a hostel for at least your first few nights. I know it could be a little bit daunting, especially if you've never stayed in a hostel before. You're going to be sleeping in a room with some random people you've never met, but it's time to get yourself out of your comfort zone.
But you've got to remember, everyone's in the same situation there. No one really wants to be sharing a room with everyone else, but that's where you're going to socialise and that's where you're going to meet your friends.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to stay in like a party hostel or anything like that if that's what you're thinking, but most hostels organise like social events to get people meeting. We've met some of our good friends on like a taco night or a cheese and wine night.
Even if you really don't want to stay in a dorm room, hostels do also have private rooms. They of course cost a bit more, but then you get the luxury of having some privacy, and you can also meet everyone that's staying in the hostel too.
Depending where you're flying into, we've included some hostel recommendations, and we've even included a booking link below in the description.
To be able to work in Australia, and of course you'll want to be getting paid, you're going to have to open an Australian bank account.
This is actually something that you can start doing before you even get to Australia. You can set it up online and you have the card waiting for you when you get here.
You'll just have to know the city that you're landing in so that you can pick a branch for you to pick your card up. Most people like us and people we've met have gone with Commonwealth Bank.
Yeah.
It's probably the most popular, but you can go with other ones like ANZ, NAB or Westpac.
Yeah, they're all good options too.
And they all accept working holiday visa.
The next thing you'll need to set up if you want to start working in Australia is your tax file number, or TFN for short. If you're from the UK, then this is basically your national insurance number. It's a unique number that's only linked to you.
We'd recommend applying pretty much as soon as you land in Australia. It takes around 28 days to be sent by post.
It'll take a while.
Yeah, so you'll want to get it done ASAP, because if you don't, you're going to be taxed at the highest ban rate of 45% when you start working.
Yeah, no stress. You will be able to claim that back if that's you, but that won't be till the end of the tax year. And if you don't know where you're going to be living, then you can have them send it to a hostel or a hotel or anything like that, so don't worry about that.
But if you are wanting to start work as soon as you land in Australia, and don't worry, you can. You just have to give your TFN to your employer within 28 days of starting work, but it just means, that you will be taxed at the highest ban rate until you give your TFN.
If you are in a rush to get it and you've already applied, then you can call up and ask them to give it to you over the phone.
Real quick, if you're interested in moving to Australia, or you just want to see some more Australia content, then give us a cheeky subscribe below.
The next thing we recommend setting up is your superannuation, or super for short. We're getting all the boring things out of the way because this is basically your pension.
Yeah, and you technically don't have to set this up yourself. So when you start work, you can nominate your company to choose a super account for you. But we just thought it was a lot easier if we set one up, because if we're moving around the country, working in different jobs, then we've got the account. Yeah, it's easy to keep track. All the companies can pay into the one account. You pay less fees, and it's just a lot simpler.
There's loads of different companies you can go with. We went with Uni Super. Someone recommended them and they've been good, so
go with them if you want. But yeah, you might be thinking, why do I need a pension? But it's a legal requirement for employers in Australia. They pay you 10.5% of your salary into your account. It's not taken out of your salary, but it's paid on top, which is really good.
When you leave the country, you get this back. However, not all of it.
You get taxed 65% of your super. So you will only get back 35% of your balance. Obviously, if you plan on staying in Australia for long term, then you'll be able to keep it all and use it as a pension.
Yeah.
But if you're planning on leaving, just look at it as like an extra little
savings pot.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah, don't worry about the tax. In Australia, the national healthcare system is called Medicare. Depending on what country you're coming from, depends on whether you're eligible for free healthcare or not. If you're from the UK like us, we're very lucky to be able to get free healthcare in Australia, but we'll provide a link below to see whether your country is eligible for free healthcare or not.
Yeah, you can set this up by either filling out the form and emailing it back, or you can go to a Centrelink branch and do it there. But if you're going to email, then just remember to include a copy of your visa and your passport, because if you don't, this can take a lot longer for them to do and they might not even reply.
Whilst we're on the topic of healthcare, if you aren't eligible for Medicare, then you might have to provide proof of health insurance before entering the country.
Before you apply for work, it's important to have your resume or CV up to date.
Yeah, in the UK, they really like a very short and concise resume.
Yeah.
Well, that's from our experience. Whereas here, we spoke to multiple recruiters and they all recommended we pretty much doubled our resume.
Yeah,
They
3 or 4
wanted
pages.
as much detail as you can about every job you've done,
They want to know about you, your skills, experience.
literally everything.
And once you've got your CV, you can upload it onto websites such as Seek or Indeed and start applying for roles there.
But we'd also recommend walking into places. They get a lot of people applying online, whereas if you walk in somewhere, you're probably more likely to get the job over someone that's applied over email.
That brings us on to our last point. Depending on what type of work you're looking to get into, you might need some kind of tickets or licenses.
Yeah, say you want to work in a bar or a restaurant, then you'll need to obtain something called an RSA, which is a Responsible Service of Alcohol ticket, before you work there.
Yeah, in the UK you don't really need anything like this, and in Australia it doesn't matter if you've got experience in another country or anything like that. If you don't have one of these, you can't work in a bar.
Yeah, and depending on the different state you're in, you might have to do different licenses.
Yeah, and if you're looking to get into construction work, you're going to need something called your white card.
They're both pretty easy to get. You can do them online if you want, or you can go in person.
Yeah, they both take about a day, but that's it.
Well, these are the things that you'll need to be set up in Australia.
Yeah, if you've got any other questions, then just drop them in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one.